We have been here before. The world shut down. Hospitals were overwhelmed. People died alone while their families watched through glass. And now, health officials around the world are monitoring a new virus, one with a mortality rate that makes COVID-19 look mild by comparison. One that has already killed passengers aboard a cruise ship stranded in the Atlantic Ocean. One that can spread from person to person. Its name is the Andes virus, a strain of Hantavirus. And right now, in May of 2026, the World Health Organization, the CDC, and health agencies across multiple continents are responding to an active outbreak. This is not a rumor. This is not a theory. This is happening now. If you are over 55, if you travel, if you have family members who travel, you need to understand what this virus is, how it spreads, and what signs should send you straight to a doctor. Not tomorrow. Now. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, known as the CDC, has classified this outbreak as a Level 3 emergency response. That is the highest tier. The World Health Organization has issued a formal disease outbreak notice. Governments on at least 4 continents are tracing contacts, quarantining passengers, and scrambling to contain a virus that most people have never heard of. This channel exists to make sure you are never the last to know about something that could affect your health or the health of someone you love. If that matters to you, subscribe now so you never miss an alert like this one. Here is what most people get dangerously wrong about hantavirus. They picture a disease from rural America, something you catch cleaning out an old barn, a disease from the 1990s, from deer mice in abandoned cabins. That image is outdated and it could cost lives. The hantavirus family includes more than 50 known strains. Most are rodent-borne and do not spread between humans. But the Andes virus, found primarily in Argentina and Chile, is the only known hantavirus in the world capable of human-to-human transmission. That single fact changes everything about how this outbreak must be treated. According to the UK Health Security Agency, when Andes virus infection progresses to its most severe form, the mortality rate ranges from 35 to 50%. To put that in perspective, the overall mortality rate of COVID-19 at the height of the pandemic was roughly 1 to 2%. The Andes virus, in severe cases, kills between 1 in 3 and 1 in 2 patients. This content is educational and does not replace the advice of your doctor. But what you are about to hear is information every informed person deserves to have. Now, here is what happened aboard the MV Hantavirus and why it matters to you personally. On the 1st of April, 2026, the Dutch cruise ship MV Hantavirus departed from Ushuaia, Argentina, carrying 147 passengers and crew. On the 6th of April, a 70-year-old Dutch passenger began showing symptoms: fever, muscle aches, gastrointestinal distress, symptoms that looked, at first, exactly like dozens of other illnesses. He died on April 11th. Because hantavirus was not suspected, no samples were taken. The ship continued its voyage. Then a second passenger fell ill. Then a third. By the time the World Health Organization received formal notification on the 2nd of May, 3 people were dead. 1 passenger was critically ill in intensive care, and 5 more were suspected cases. The outbreak had been spreading quietly aboard the ship for nearly a month before the world knew. As of the 9th of May, 2026, WHO reported 6 confirmed and 2 suspected cases, with additional probable cases awaiting laboratory results. Passengers have been hospitalized in South Africa, the Netherlands, Germany, St. Helena, Spain, and Switzerland. The ship docked in Tenerife on the 10th of May, where 22 individuals were removed, screened, and placed on chartered repatriation flights. British passengers entered 72-hour quarantine before beginning 45 days of home isolation. The CDC is actively investigating whether any American passengers may have been exposed. This is no longer a story about one ship. It is a story about how a virus no one was watching just crossed borders, crossed oceans, and forced the entire global health system into emergency mode. There are 4 things you must understand about why this virus is so dangerous. The first is what the Andes virus does to the human body. Think of your lungs as 2 sponges, healthy and full of tiny air pockets that absorb oxygen. Now imagine those sponges slowly filling with fluid from the inside, as your own immune system, fighting the virus, causes inflammation that floods those air pockets shut. That is Hantavirus pulmonary syndrome. According to CDC data, once a patient develops full respiratory symptoms, approximately 38% will die. The progression can be shockingly fast. A patient with a moderate fever on Monday can be on a ventilator by Wednesday. There is no approved antiviral treatment. Management is entirely supportive. For people over 55, whose cardiovascular systems are already under greater strain, that fight is significantly harder. The second is the fact that sets this outbreak apart from every prior hantavirus event in history. The Andes virus spreads between people. According to the CDC, transmission occurs through prolonged close contact, including time in enclosed spaces, exposure to respiratory secretions, and contact with body fluids. On a ship with shared dining rooms, shared air systems, and passengers in close quarters for weeks, those conditions were present every single day. This is why the WHO treated this outbreak with the same language used at the beginning of COVID-19. Not because hantavirus spreads as easily as a coronavirus, but because any pathogen with confirmed human-to-human transmission capacity must be taken seriously. The third is the incubation window and why it makes containment so difficult. According to CDC guidance, symptoms appear between 4 and 42 days after exposure. 42 days. During that time, a person can feel completely healthy while boarding planes, attending family gatherings, and unknowingly exposing others. By the time the MV Hantavirus outbreak was confirmed, dozens of passengers had already disembarked at various ports across the South Atlantic. The exposure chain was already weeks long before anyone knew there was an outbreak. The fourth is the bigger picture that experts are carefully watching. Maria van Kerkhove, Director of Epidemic Preparedness at the WHO, stated clearly in May of 2026, "This is not the next COVID. The overall public risk remains extremely low." That statement is true, and it must be heard alongside another one. Argentina has reported a significant rise in hantavirus deaths since mid-2025, linked to climate changes and expanding human activity in rodent habitats. Scientists tracking zoonotic disease have warned for years that the next major pandemic threat is most likely to emerge from exactly this kind of spillover event. The Andes virus is not new. What is new is watching it move between humans across 6 countries simultaneously and trigger a level 3 CDC emergency response. If this information is reaching you, please take 3 seconds and give this video a like. It tells this channel that content like this is getting to the people who need it most. Now you must know the warning signs. These are the signals that demand immediate medical attention. First, rapid fever, alongside intense muscle pain in the thighs, hips, and lower back, combined with severe headache and fatigue, especially after recent travel to Argentina or Chile. Second, gastrointestinal symptoms, including nausea and abdominal pain, appearing alongside fever in someone with recent South American travel or contact with a confirmed case. Third, and this is critical, any shortness of breath developing in the days following a flu-like illness. When hantavirus pulmonary syndrome begins, the lungs start flooding. The window for intervention is narrow. If breathing becomes labored after fever and muscle aches, treat it as a medical emergency. Do not wait overnight. Fourth, rapid deterioration in a patient who seemed to be recovering. Sudden confusion, extreme weakness, or low blood pressure in the days after fever requires emergency care immediately. Fifth, if you or a family member were aboard the MV Hantavirus, flew on a repatriation flight, or had close contact with anyone connected to the outbreak, contact your doctor today, even if you feel completely well. The 42-day window is still open. Share this list with your family now, because they may not know to look for it. Here is your action plan, 5 steps starting today. Step 1. If you have recently traveled to southern South America and experience any combination of the symptoms above in the next 6 weeks, tell your doctor about your travel history immediately. Ask directly, could this be Andes virus exposure? Those exact words change the diagnostic picture. Step 2. If you are planning travel to South America, avoid areas with visible rodent activity. Do not disturb nests or droppings. In older buildings or rural areas, ventilate before entering. Wear an N95 mask when cleaning enclosed spaces, and use gloves when handling materials that may be contaminated. Step 3. If you care for someone over 55, know that rapid fever with intense muscle pain and any difficulty breathing requires urgent medical attention. Do not adopt a wait-and-see approach for more than 24 hours. Step 4. Stay informed through reliable sources. Bookmark the CDC Hantavirus current situation page and the WHO disease outbreak news section. New cases may still emerge as the 42-day incubation window runs through late May and into June of 2026. Step 5. Do not panic, but do not dismiss this either. Calibrated attention. Mention this situation to your doctor at your next appointment. An informed patient and an informed doctor together are far harder for any virus to defeat. Picture a passenger stepping off a repatriation flight in Manchester on the night of May 10th, 2026. 45 days of isolation ahead. A family waiting somewhere behind a barrier. The simple act of breathing open air, feeling like something worth being grateful for. The people best positioned to survive any emerging threat are the ones who know what to watch for, know when to act, and understand that being informed is itself a form of protection. Leave a comment below and tell this community. Did you know about this outbreak before watching this video? Did you know the Andes virus could spread between people? Your answer matters. It tells us how far this information still needs to travel. If this video gave you something useful, please like it and subscribe to this channel. This channel exists to bring you the health information that affects your life and the lives of the people you love, clearly and without delay. Every subscription makes that mission possible. And please, share this video right now with someone specific. A family member who recently traveled, a friend who mentioned feeling run down after a trip, a parent who is planning a cruise. Send it before you close this screen, not later. Now, stay informed, stay alert. Your health is worth every conversation you are willing to have to protect it.